Hi, this is Mr. Schneider. This is podcast 8.1. There's only one podcast for this unit because it's a short. Well, it's not a short unit, but I just decided to combine it all into one podcast. And today's podcast it's on local government, which for us, of course, is Fairfax County. So let's talk about the composition and powers of local governments in Virginia. There's three types of local governments in Virginia. Those are counties, towns, and cities. And in Fairfax County, we have examples of all three. Obviously, Fairfax County, we have towns like Herndon, and we have cities like Fairfax City. So those are all types of different jurisdictions in this state. And then local governments, just as national government, just as the state government, they have executive, legislative, and judicial powers. So let's talk about county government first. Each county government has an elected Board of Supervisors. They have the legislative powers in that county, and they do things like they enact ordinances, and they also have an annual budget. So they decide how the money is going to be spent in that county, and that's something we see in Fairfax every year. As a teacher, that's something I definitely pay attention to as we decide each year whether or not teachers are going to get raises and how much money the county is going to include in their budget for schools. Counties may also have a manager or a county executive that's hired by the Board of Supervisors, and that manager helps to oversee the operations of the local government. It's not an elected position, but they're just more. They help the Board of Supervisors. And then each Virginia county also has a elected or appointed school board, which obviously helps to oversee the operation of public schools in the county. So that's county government. So the structure and powers of a town government. Town government has a town council, which again has legislative powers. They enact ordinances and they adopt the town's annual budget. And then a mayor is elected either by voters or by the town council members. Again, they may hire a manager, help with the legislative branch. And towns are located within counties, and its citizens receive and pay for services from both the town and the county. So, example, use the town of Herndon. While Herndon is a town, they have a council, they have a mayor. They also do receive services from Fairfax County. So, for example, people in Herndon, students in Herndon go to Herndon Middle School or Herndon High School, which is part of Fairfax County Schools. All right, let's talk about the structure and powers of city government. So again, the city government has a city council it's elected, and they have legislative powers, ordinances, and they adopt an annual budget. So county has Board of Supervisors, town has a town council, city has a city council. A city may also have a mayor, and they may also hire a manager. And then each city has a K-12 public school. They have a school board that oversees schools in that town. So, for example, some towns have their own, or some cities have their own school district, like Alexandria has their own school district. T.C. Williams, remember the Titans, that's a school in that's a school that's run by the city of Alexandria. Other cities like Fairfax City, while they have their own schools, Lanier Middle School and Fairfax City High School, those schools are actually run by Fairfax County Public Schools. Okay? All right, so that's town, city, and county. Now, there are some things that apply to all three of the local governments. So the Virginia Constitution remember, each state has its own constitution. So the Virginia Constitution requires that voters in every locality elect the sheriff, a clerk of the circuit court, a commissioner of revenue, and a treasurer. So Fairfax County has that. The town of Herndon has that. So when we go to the polls every couple years, these are usually 4-year positions. We have to elect these different parts of the government, these different people to local government. So what can local governments do? What's expected of them? They enforce state and local laws. They promote public health. They protect public safety through police force, firefighters, educate children, protect the environment, regulate land use. It's limited what you can do with your own house. Like, you can't decide tomorrow to pull down your house and build a McDonald's there. That's against county ordinances, and your neighbors would probably be pretty upset. And then they also levy and collect taxes. However, the localities are limited in the taxes they can levy, which is charge you. As you remember, this past fall, Fairfax County had to put on a ballot whether or not they could increase the meals tax, and that, of course, was voted down by the citizens. There's other things that like property tax, where they can increase it without asking citizens whether or not they should increase that tax. So let's talk about the relationship of local and state governments. According to our Constitution, the Virginia Constitution, local governments get all of their powers from the General Assembly. The General Assembly decides how powerful local governments can be. Not all counties and cities are given the same power. Cities generally have a charter that lists what their powers are. And then counties and cities assist in the local implementation of state laws and programs. So, for example, there's a Virginia Department of Education. They decide what you should be taught. Fairfax County is the local group. The Fairfax County School Board implements locally what you're going to be taught, how you're going to be taught, what the state wants you to be taught. And then local government gets its funding from its ability to raise revenue in addition to money that the state provides. So the state does provide some money, but then the localities are responsible for raising a lot of money on their own, and they raise the vast majority of that through property taxes. And then finally, let's talk about the lawmaking process at the local level. So whether it's the town or city council or the board of supervisors, they're responsible for passing local laws, which are also known as ordinances. So the board of supervisors in counties, and then a city council or a town council, depending on a city or town. And then you as an individual really this is where you can have the greatest influence on what the government does for you, because these are the people you have the closest contact with. Whereas a U.S. senator might represent millions of people, and a member of the House of Representatives would represent hundreds of thousands of people, and even people in state government represent thousands of people, tens of thousands of people. A member of the local government could represent hundreds of people. So this is where you can really get your opinions and preferences heard, and this is really where you can get the most done for you. So I always tell people that while the presidential election is important, and while statewide elections are important, the elections that are most important to you as a citizen are your local elections. All right, that's podcast 8.1. Please put all your notes. I'll tell you this tomorrow morning when you start, but make sure you put all of your notes into a Google document and turn it in Google Classroom. Thank you. Have a good day.